Ramblin and Gamblin Sports YouTube video. My name is James Evans, and today we'll be looking at the UFC 252 co-main event between Sugar Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera. Which will take place this Saturday at the UFC Apex Arena in Las Vegas, headlined by Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, which I'm very much looking forward to. Obviously, it's the rubber match, and it's tough to call with both fighters looking to sort of end their careers on a high. Maybe we'll see Miocic in again if he wins, but who knows. But yeah, today we're talking about Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Before we get into proceedings, obviously if you could follow us at Twitter at @gamblin, and myself is at EvansJames99. I also run a professional UFC account by the name of UFC Deluxe. If you give that a follow. But as well as that, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this and to sort of keep yourself up to date with any sort of various sporting news across the world. But yeah, obviously let's get into it. The co-main between Sugar Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera. It's going to be an interesting spectacle to say the least. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to this. You've obviously got a guy in Sugar Sean O'Malley who's 12-0, and he just looks unstoppable at the moment. I think with the UFC, with a guy like Sugar Sean, they've got to preserve and cherry pick their opponents and sort of preserve that unbeaten run. I think this is arguably Sugar Sean's toughest test yet against Marlon Vera. It'll be interesting to see how Sugar Sean's prepared for a guy like Marlon Vera, and all the sorts of attributes he'll bring to the table. But obviously, he made his Contender Series debut in 2017 against Alfred Kazakian and won via sensational first-round knockout, and immediately that sort of win put himself on the map, and rightly so, earned him a contract with the UFC. And his first two wins came via decision against Terrion Ware and at UFC 222 in November 2018 against Andre Sukumtar. And then, the last two performances of the night towards just speak for itself, really. A brilliant TKO victory over Jose Alberto Quinhos, and then recently in June against Eddie Wineland, which was an absolutely sensational knockout. And again, I've always been on the Sugar Sean O'Malley hype train ever since the Contender Series, and that's probably a bit too early to say, but I've always backed him from day one as soon as he entered in the Contender Series, and it may have been too early, but he's proved how capable he is to reach the top, and he's certainly going to be one of the top prospects in the bantamweight future, really. And if he gets a win over a guy like Vera, like I said, he's going to be his toughest test yet. Be interested to see who he fights next, whether it'll be a top 10 ranked contender. But yeah, like I said, he's 12-0. Sugar Sean, with 8 of them victories coming by knockout or TKO. And we know predominantly he's a striker going forward. But in my opinion, he's one of the top 6 in terms of striking in the bantamweight division. Feel free to disagree, but we've all enjoyed watching Sugar Sean O'Malley. I mean, you look at his performance against Eddie Wineland in June, just disposed the former WEC champion and made it look easy in less than a round at 250. He then called for a showdown with Cody Garbrandt, which obviously might have been a bit too soon, but he's got a shot with Davison Figueiredo in November, I believe. And he also got himself back on a winning streak at that night as well, over Sunsao, I believe. So, in the UFC are right within their rights to sort of pump the brakes on that one and sort of take a step back and not throw Sugar Sean straight into the deep end yet. But I think a win over Vera would certainly put himself in, would sort of announce his arrival into the top 10 contention, and certainly as a top prospect in the future. And it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for Sugar Sean O'Malley after this fight and what his plans are for the rest of 2020. Going into 2021, but with Marlon Vera, he's no walkover. I mean, it's at the beginning of his UFC career, slightly inconsistent, picking a win, then immediately losing, then going back-to-back losing streaks. But before his defeat to Song Yadong at UFC on the ESPN with Overeem and Harris, he lost obviously via decision to Song Yadong, and then before that he was on a 5-winning streak. He defeated guys like Andre Ewell, Nolan Hernandez, Frankie Saenz, Guido Canetti, and Woolijee Buran. So, and you look at a guy like Andre Ewell, he's no walkover himself. So they're 5 reasonably average when you'd probably expect him to get the job done. But he's been around the game for a while. He's been signed on to the UFC since 2014. He's 27. And again, a win for Vera would sort of put his name on the map. Ultimately, for O'Malley, the experience and the sort of versatility in Vera will probably might allow him to get an upset against Sugar Sean O'Malley. So there are paths to victory for Vera in this fight, and it'll be interesting to see whether he uses his jiu-jitsu. He's got black belt in BJJ, but you know what to expect from Vera. He starts off slow. He predominantly tends to lean towards the striking sort of department, which you cannot stand against a guy like Sean O'Malley. You just cannot stand face to face in the pocket with Sean O'Malley, who will pick you apart immediately. And I don't think the sort of BJJ and the wrestling are a plan B for Vera. I don't think he will use them. He might do. He might sort of take the fight to the floor. But with a guy like Sean O'Malley, he's not easy to take down. You just look at the size of him. He's 5'11" for a bantamweight. I'm surprised he makes 135. So he's got a lot more fights under his belt compared to Sugar Sean O'Malley in Vera, who's got a lot more experience behind his name, and this will probably be his toughest test yet. So there's no doubt in my mind that there's still, you know, there may be some flaws in O'Malley's game that we haven't seen yet, and the BJJ expert in Vera might expose that on Saturday. But I doubt it, to be honest. I don't see O'Malley's first professional defeat coming this weekend. It'll be a tough one for O'Malley, to say the least. Obviously, Vera has a lot of tools within his arsenal to win and beat the surging sort of bantamweight contender. He's definitely more experienced out of the two, as I alluded to earlier, but it'll be interesting to see if he does sort of use the BJJ and this that sort of ability. I don't think he will. O'Malley will just use his superior striking and his movement, and as I alluded to earlier, obviously Vera's got black belt and BJJ, but O'Malley's got a decent, you know, underground ground game, and if Vera tends to throw and sort of shoot for the takedown, it might be difficult for him to take O'Malley down. So it'll be interesting to see in that department whether or not we will see a guy like Marlon Vera taken down. But I'm very much looking forward to this fight. And with regards to my prediction, that, like I said, O'Malley's got superior striking movement and his ground game's underrated, but Vera has got some tools within his arsenal to beat a guy like Sugar Sean O'Malley. But will we see it on Saturday? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I mean, it all comes down to that first round. If O'Malley picks him apart early, then we may see an early stoppage with 58% of his shots land, and he averages about 6.86 significant strikes a minute. So that says it all with Sugar Sean O'Malley. We know what to expect. He's very dangerous offensively, he likes to mix it up in terms of his striking. So in that sort of department, Vera's not going to want to stand early on, and he averages about 1.1 takedown a minute. So, but even though he's not known for his takedowns, that'll probably maybe in his back pocket for a guy like O'Malley. But O'Malley will probably just pick him apart early on. That's the way I see it. I just don't know if Vera has. Obviously, he's got the tools in his arsenal, but whether he's got the quality and the sort of edge to beat a guy like Sugar Sean O'Malley remains to be seen. And half of Vera's fights have come by half of his wins have come via submission, so it'll be interesting to see if he does get him to the floor and what he does on the mat. And yeah, that would probably be his path to victory. But again, I'm probably being a bit optimistic in that sort of department, but I do see O'Malley picking him apart early on, just trying to find a way to sort of finish him and catch him early on. But with regards to my prediction, I'm probably going to go for Sugar Sean O'Malley via a first round TKO. I think I was reluctant to say that with regards to, as earlier, I was thinking maybe he'd get the second round TKO and maybe he'll get the second round finish, you know, with the first 5 minutes sort of being a feeling out process for O'Malley. But you know what, on his day he's capable of knocking anyone out in that division. And I think we'll see some heavy shots land on Vera early on, and I think it'll be a tough night at the office for Cheetah. I really do. They've had some beef back and forth over the past few months, so they're going to want to settle that. And I think O'Malley has a lot of skills in his arsenal to beat a guy like Cheetah Vera. And again, a win over Vera will put himself on the map even more. There probably are some doubters in the MMA community right now who aren't keen on O'Malley, but you know, a convincing victory over a guy like Marlon Vera will certainly do wonders for him. And I'm sure a lot of the people will hop on the bandwagon and the hype train that is Sugar Sean O'Malley, and rightly so. You know, this man is not to be overlooked upon. He's got a bright future. And like I said, with the UFC, they've got to sort of preserve that undefeated record. They've got to cherry pick his opponents and not stick him against a guy that they know that is going to cause a lot of problems for him, because they're going to want to give him 2 more fights until they do that, and then we'll see the real Sugar Sean O'Malley come to show whether he's got the versatility and the ability to compete with the guys that can do anything in the bantamweight division. Obviously, he was calling for the likes of Cody Garbrandt early on, but maybe that might have been a bit too soon for a guy like Sugar Sean O'Malley. You just got to take it one fight at a time, and Marlon Vera will be his toughest test yet, so he's got to get through that first, which, like I said, I think he will convincingly do it, and then we'll sort of judge after that and match him up against the top 10 contenders. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this fight. I think this is all the ingredients to be a fight of the night. Both fighters are going to bring it, and yeah, I'm truly believe that O'Malley will get it done via first round TKO and sort of put himself on the map. If he's not on the map already, I think people, certainly with a convincing win over Vera, will start to understand the hype around Sugar Sean O'Malley, because when the Sugar Show comes to town, no one's stopping him on his day. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he deals with a guy like Vera, and if he wins, then that'll sort of put him. That'll be a good way to end 2020 at 2-0. Maybe he might fight once more before the end of the year. I don't know, but whoever he fights next, if he does beat Vera, it's definitely going to be a top 10 ranked opponent. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the future of Sugar Sean O'Malley. So yeah, that sort of wraps up the preview for the co-main event at UFC 252. Leave your thoughts down below. Do you agree with my prediction? Do you think Marlon Vera will get it done? Will he shock the world? What's your predictions? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, that's all from me. If you could remember to follow us on Twitter @andgamblin, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this and stay up to date. And yeah, we will be sort of releasing more content come fight night. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. And yeah, I'm James Evans, and it was good to speak to you guys. And yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Yeah, thank you. Cheers, guys.